Welcome. I am marketing expert and business coach Melissa Kellogg-Lewick, and this is the Doing Business Like a Woman podcast, where we are exploring and teaching you how women are reinventing the way business is done and money is made to help you create greater impact and financial freedom, one business at a time. Okay, so I'm so excited today. I have a very special guest with me today, Michelle Salinas, and I'm going to have her introduce herself in just a moment, but I think this is going to be such a great conversation around really owning up to our value and our authority and really the vision for our lives and stepping into that and how we step into that and the journey that it takes to get there, right, Michelle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would love for you to just introduce yourself and we'll get started there. And just quickly, Michelle and I met just a few weeks ago at a women's networking event here in our local area. And we were at the Women's Success Summit hosted by eWomen Network, which is a great organization that I'm a part of, and Michelle is as well. And then we met one-on-one, and I was just blown away by Michelle's story, and I couldn't wait to have her come on and share it with you. So here we go. Michelle.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Melissa. I really appreciate you. And so, yes, my name is Michelle Salinas, and I am the CEO at the Digital Edge Inc. And we specialize in finding hidden profit for small businesses and without them having to spend on marketing or advertising. And what really moved me to start my business in 2018 was a layoff that I had experienced a few months before that. So towards the end of 2017, I experienced an unexpected layoff and totally not prepared for it either. And then my special needs son, I have two kids, and my special needs son, he needed urgent support, urgent attention. And so I then decided to start a business on, working from home online, and also be able to, spend more time with my son, having him, study online as well. And then that whole experience of, being with him online, from home, working from home, but very few hours. I was not even able to work a lot in my business or on it, because I was really focused on finding out what was going on with my son, advocating for him in the school system. And so that really led me to uncover a few things. And one is that there's a lot of marginalization going on, in the workforce, as a single mom, with a special needs, child. And there's also a lot of discrimination going on. And just the marketplace is not structured and set up for mothers, especially special needs moms. So I discovered this later on, a few years later, I discovered that and decided to do something about it. So that's when I started to, I pay more attention to, okay, what is the vision for my life? How do I want to make an impact? How do I want to be an instrument for impact? And so in 2020, that's when I discovered that I really wanted to make an impact for special needs moms, but I didn't know how that was going to happen. Like I thought, okay, maybe I need to start a foundation, start a nonprofit, and then that way I can help them. So I had some idea there, but I was like, I'm not ready to start a nonprofit yet. I still have to grow my own business. And so 2 years later, I then, found myself, pretty stuck in some areas and realized that I was not asking for help. I was, there were areas in my life that I needed to get a coach. I needed a mentor. And so I decided to get back on Clubhouse, and I initially was on Clubhouse when it started, and then kind of was off and on, but then I felt compelled to get back on there. And Clubhouse, by the way, is a social audio app, and there's some really fantastic rooms there. And so I went into this room, Breakfast with Champions, and heard Richard Dolan speak. And I had no idea who he was. But just hearing what he said moved my soul. Like it wasn't even an emotional experience. Like it really moved the depths of me. And I was like, I need to find out who this guy is. I need to, hear more about what he has to say. And so I went on and signed up for one of his services and just started, which is like videos and things. And so I just started educating myself more, and it just kept moving me more. And I would take lots of notes and then, find, okay, how am I going to take action on this? Then I discovered that he had this scholarship program just for women, and Katie Shea being the one that leads that. And so I went ahead and applied for it, not even, expecting what was going to come out of it. Then I actually got selected out of hundreds of women that applied. I was one of the ones that got selected. And so that program has, just recently started towards the end of May. And because of the accountability and the mentorship and coaching that I've been receiving, I am now taking steps and taking action on things that I hadn't before.
Yeah.
One of them being, sharing my story and really owning my story by sharing it. So that there's that. Then also like uncovering and discovering like, who am I here to serve? Because that was a question that I've had for, it's been in my heart, but I'm like, okay, I made a decision. Like it is now even more clear that I'm here to serve special needs moms and how I'm going to serve them, what that looks like. And so I made a decision to change the audience in my business. So instead of just serving, small business owners, in certain industries, now I'm focusing it more on special needs moms. And special needs moms that are working or that they're about to start a business. And so I started to share my story more. And then I also decided to launch a community. Well, to launch a community that's just for special needs moms, I realized that I needed to also get some sponsors on board, get support with that financially. So that's when I decided to put myself out there and, ask for a loan through kiva.org, which is, it's a little bit like crowdfunding, but not exactly. So, because I first had to get like people that knew me to, vouch for me and like, lend, even if it was $25, so 5 people. And then after that, the loan was public. And then I got the whole community of Kiva, which is like millions of people, including sponsors. And the U.S. national women's soccer team was one of my sponsors. And so, because there's nothing out there that is specially for, for this group of women, special needs moms. And so ever since then, I made the decision, I took action, and then started to put myself out there intentionally and, and holding myself accountable to this, to this group that I'm part of. All these things have started to come together, including not only getting funded, with my first round, but also I had asked in previous months Amberly Lago, and I've been, following her for a couple of years now, and I found her through Greg Reed, which is, has been one of my mentors from a distance, and so. I emailed her and I said, hey, Amberly, I'm looking for a mentor. So when I made a decision, I need a mentor, I started to look, to seek it out.
Yeah.
And she was one of the people that I had emailed before finding this scholarship. And she's like, well, our mastermind is not open right now, but I would love to give you, she gave me a coaching session. She also gave me a VIP ticket to this event that happened, just recently. I had no idea like who was going to be at this event. I didn't even know what to expect, but I was just so thankful and appreciative that she was showing how much she believes in me. And so, so then after that, just for a timeline sake, that's when I found, the scholarship for mentorship and coaching. And then the event came up, time to attend this event, which is called Embrace Your Ambition. It was here in Denver. So I attend the event and I was in for quite a surprise, like a pleasant surprise.
Nice.
I had never been in such a small room with so many speakers that not only are they a living demonstration of what they speak, but they just like exude so much love, like genuine love for other people.
Nice.
Like they had so much humility. They are just like full of light and care and love for other people. And they showed that not just on, not just on the stage, but like what, after they spoke, they would just engage with all of us in such a beautiful, powerful way. And I've never experienced that, so many great speakers in one room. Well, it also turns out that most of them are from Clubhouse.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
didn't, yeah, it was so interesting to put like a little small picture from Clubhouse and the voice, with the person.
Yeah.
And, and then I heard like the speaker that really inspired me the most was just like, oh my gosh, she moved my soul. And she was really relatable for me too. And that was Natasha Grano. She goes by Graziano now, but her being a single mom, back in the day, and she's now met somebody amazing through Clubhouse. But I just when I heard her story and heard, and not only that, but like I met her, I talked to her, I just saw what she's done with her life ever
Mhm.
since she picked her, literally, rose from the ashes. I was like, I need to surround myself more, like this kind of people. Like I really need to be intentional about who I surround myself with.
Yeah.
I need to be more intentional about attending masterminds and finding a way. And before I was in the mindset of, oh, I can't afford it, or how am I going to even pay for that? Like, whatever. I was always like, just looking at the circumstances instead of like, finding that place within me where I can transcend my circumstances and find
Yeah.
a solution. Now that I've put myself out there, it's opened this whole world of creativity where I can find creative solutions for myself. Because sometimes it's easy, especially if we're a consultant, if we're a coach, it's easy to find a solution for someone else, but it's harder to find it for ourselves. And
Yeah.
so, for me, it was very simple. It's like, I'm very much in the picture. I don't see the frame of that picture. That's why a coach and mentors it's so important to have them. And so now that I've put myself out there, I do have, a coach, a mentor, and I'm part of a community, and I keep surrounding myself with people that have similar values in business and in life. I'm finding that I now will like find a way to, create the money, like whether it's crowdfunding, whatever it is, a grant, whatever it is that I need to do to put myself out there to be able to get the support to invest in myself more and in the business, because that's what's going to help me serve special needs moms at the highest level. And even with what I have right now, I am able to do that, but I want it to continue to grow. I want to continue to grow and keep
Yeah.
this amazing momentum. And so the synchronicity that's happened in the last, few weeks is just outstandingly remarkable. It just blows me away, and I am just so deeply thankful for the people that make it accessible and possible for for people like me that
Mhm.
I'm coming from a place of having to overcome a lot of adversity.
Yeah. I love it. Such a great story. So I want to kind of thank you for that overview. I think that was awesome. I want to just take a step back to the kind of the beginning of your story. And what was the kind of work that you were doing when you left your corporate environment? And then what was it like kind of when you started your own business, and what you were offering? And let's kind of go back to that part, that stage.
Yes. So I was working as a customer success advisor. And so I've done some customer success. And then prior to that, I did, consulting work for ADP as a contract. And then, so I've also been in sales. I've done a lot of, sales executive work,
Mm-hmm.
sales consulting, and like basically all my background. I didn't realize it, but like a lot of the work that I've done in the past is what helped me be able to open a business and also be able to like, get clients and by referral. And because
Yeah.
I did not advertise or market much at all in my,
Mhm.
I've been in business for 4 years, and most of those years I have not marketed at all because
Mhm.
I needed to, I was only able to grow at a certain rate. I couldn't grow too fast.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like my experience, prior to opening my business was mostly business development, which is, sales and some marketing, mostly digital marketing, some marketing strategy and customer success. Those were
Okay.
the areas where, that I was working in.
Yeah. So then you get laid off from your job and you know that your son needs more of you around and more advocacy and more attention to helping him with school and so forth. And so at that point, you're like, well, talk me through like what you were thinking. Is it like, well, I'm going to go try to find a job or I'm going to start something on my own? Like kind of that thought process of, because I think that's, it takes a lot of courage, especially as a single mom, because, the buck stops with you, right? It's not like you had a, huge support system to fall back on.
Right. Like I literally did not have a safety net. And that's why it was so scary to the thought of, opening my own business. And it had been for a long time. Like I've been wanting to open my own business for a very long time. So like
Okay.
I would do, side work, like contracts, sometimes here and there. And, but never had, really run, my own business per
Yeah.
se, so this was the first time like really going all in. And my thought process was, I keep running into the same issue.
Mm.
If I ask for flexibility in a job setting, I get penalized for that.
Yeah.
And so it's like I would have a boss that would be amazing. We'd have a great relationship. I was doing great work, but then I would have someone else in the company that would be, not okay with me getting that flexibility from my
Yeah.
boss. So it was always something that, it was always something or someone within a company just not being okay with or having an issue with me needing the flexibility that I needed. And, and it's one thing when you ask for flexibility and your performance is not great. That's one thing. But, but still, it's like the most companies out there are not structured in a way to really support mothers,
Yeah.
especially special needs mothers.
Yeah.
And so, so the so-called security that I had been, that I had grown up to think about a job was like some sort of security. Well, it's not really if I'm getting laid off when I least expected, I expected this job to last for many years. And I really loved what I was doing and was, performing well. The clients were happy with me. But it was just one of those things. And so yes, I figured if I'm running into the same issue and there's no job security, I might as well do something that I love doing and something of my own that I have control over.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And creating your own security.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is such a paradigm shift for a lot of us. And I think a lot of corporate people in corporate, especially women in corporate during the pandemic, really saw, we all kind of saw that shift where it was like maybe these, supposed 9 to 5 jobs are not as secure as we think they are.
Right.
And what other options are out there. And so I love that. And so that was almost like your first investment, right? In yourself is like, I'm going to go at this on my own. I'm going to invest in my belief in myself and creating my own security and stepping out in that faith. And so tell me what that was like.
It was really scary. Like I felt very scared. But at the same time, there was like this excitement that was, kind of like coming to the surface slowly but surely. And there was also like a sense of freedom that I felt too in starting to create my own path.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I didn't know exactly what it was going to, be evolving into, or what it was all going to look like. I did not know the how to everything. Like I started business with a certain focus, and then it started kind of like, moving more into business development and, not just consulting, but also coaching, and also like learning to partner you know, um, with other business coaches that had more experience in the field, that were investors, that, they licensed they were playing the game at a whole different level. So
Mm.
yeah, so it's like, it was great to start to do that. So it's like, that's really helped my business to, again, to gain more clarity and direction as to like, where do I want to go and
Yeah.
how do I want to do it and for what purpose? Like those big questions that we typically have, um, not just for life, but also for our business, because it's so integrated with life
Yes.
that, I couldn't answer them right away. And I also gave myself a lot of grace and compassion. It's like,
Mm.
I can't answer these questions right now, and it's okay. The answer will become clear. So I used my own spiritual practice. I used my own resilience that I had to already build in life, to be able to, even be a player in life. There's a certain amount of resilience, a certain amount of trust in ourselves, and, in a higher power that we do have to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically used everything that was already at my disposal and kept expanding that, growing
Yeah.
that, to be able to stay resilient through this journey, and also continue to grow, continue to learn, and continue to, ask, okay, well, what is next? Like, what do I need to do
Yeah.
next? And who do I need to be? Who do I need to have in my tribe, or what does that all look like? Like, just things like that we, some of us are curious about, but just
Yeah.
may not always have the answer right away. But then
Yeah.
as we continue to take steps, continue to, progress, even if it's slow progress, it's still progress. All of that became more clear. And there were some people that came and, they provided something that I needed at that moment. And there was, some sort of exchange. And then, they kind of like went on in their own journey, and I went on in mine. Like, there are some people that come and go, and we have an exchange, and there's a value exchange there, but it's not meant to always stay that way. So that was the thing, is that I just kept going. And then I started to ask more for help. That was one of the greatest lessons that I had in the last 7 years, on a personal level and also in business, because I was not used to asking for help
Mm-hmm.
professionally and in business necessarily. Like, it was more like on a personal level, like, being a single mom, it's one of those things where we quickly learned that, hey, when we need to ask for help, we need to ask for help. And so, but in business, I wasn't used to, like, in professionally, I wasn't used to, you know, asking for help.
Yeah.
And it was very uncomfortable. It was really out of my comfort zone to do that. And so, um,
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. So you start your business, you're getting some clients, getting money rolling in, and then, but you're still feeling like this nudge that there's going to be more to this, or kind of tell me about that part of your journey.
so the business model that I've had for the last, I don't know what, 4 years or so,
Yeah.
it's been one where, I only can accept a very small amount of clients because of the time that it takes to deliver.
Yeah.
And so, and keep in mind that it's combining that with my own family, right? Like,
Yeah.
being there for my kiddos. And so yeah, so it's like, I then realized that model was not the best model. Like, it provided a certain, it served me, and it served, the client, like one of my clients that I had, made them I brought in $100,000 in 3 months. And so, so these clients, they're multi-million dollar companies. They're very established, and it was great to be able to like work for those type of clients. But I realized that's not the business model that's really going to help me serve at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
The women that I'm here to serve. Like, that's when I really had to make a decision and get super clear. Okay, you know that you're here to serve special needs moms. Now it's time to move on that, not just like let it sit there, but like actually do it. Be a living demonstration of being an instrument of, for impact for this group of women. And so that's when I made the decision, okay, I'm not going to wait anymore. And I'm not going to wait to like start a nonprofit or a foundation or whatever to do something about it. I'm going to use and start where I am now.
Yeah.
And so I decided, okay, you still use my business to serve these women, because these women, whether it's a working mother or whether it's that has, is a special needs working mother, or that one that is thinking about starting a side hustle or is already in business and needs support, there are specific things that I can help them with, that I've lived through, that I've grown through. And I also can pull in other, specialists and experts to help support as well, because it does take a village. Like, it's very clear that it does take a village, but we have to voice what we need. We have to be our greatest advocates.
Yeah.
As mothers, it's often easy to be an advocate for our kids, but we also need to be advocate for ourselves, for
Mm-hmm.
what we need on a personal level and in business. And when we are in any type of program, it's not enough to just focus on one area of life. It's important to be able to get support for all areas of life.
Yeah.
And there's no one coach or one mentor that is going to provide it all. That's why it's good to have, a healthy tribe and network of people that, share similar values, that are in a place way beyond, where we want to go. So that way it's cohesive, it's congruent. Like, there's a combination of different things that are important for each single, mother. And so that's when I made the decision. I'm going to launch a community. I'm going to launch a community for special needs moms, and that are either working, a job, they have their career, or they're starting a side hustle, or they're already in business. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And I started the funding part of it. Because obviously anything that we need to do that's going to be big and that we want it to be world class needs to be funded.
So talk a little bit about that, flipping that switch to changing the direction of your business, and then how you decided to ask for help, what were you thinking that kind of drove you to say, okay, now, I need help with this, and I'm going to reach out and find a mentor, find a coach. Kind of talk me through how that happened for you.
Well, first off, I care about the impact I make in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I could have just stayed, working my small consultancy firm and just focusing on, businesses that are, in either high six figures or 7-8 figures. I could have just focused on that and find ways to grow that, and that's it. But I'm someone that really wants to make an impact. I want to be a living demonstration of what it is to be an instrument for impact. I want to be a force of impact in this world. So that's a calling that I've had for a very long time, since I was very young. I just didn't know what that all looked like.
Yeah.
Even my parents have always seen that too. And so when I got accepted into the scholarship program, Rich Ladies, and started to become accountable, I have an accountability call every single week. I am being closely observed. So like, now that I have that awareness, and now obviously my actions have to align with what I say that I want to do and want.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things have to be congruent in every part of my life, because these mentors and coaches are looking at every part of my life, not just one. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I was like, okay, I I felt very moved, based on the information that I've been learning lately, to take action. And that I started to believe that I can take action with what I have right now, with
Mm-hmm.
who I am now, and that I can take action. It was just a matter of having clarity and
Mm-hmm.
awareness of that, and then doing it. And so I did.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I did. That's
that's
when I
awesome.
launched my campaign on kiva.org.
Yeah. So tell us about that. So it's not only like reaching out, like, and for the scholarship and getting accepted into that program, and then, realizing that the organization that you're part of is wanting you to put your money where, or your mouth where their money is, right? So to speak.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's all about being a living demonstration.
Yeah.
And, it's about being. And when we're really being, who we really are, everything in our life speaks about that, is an expression of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it all aligns, it's all congruent. And
Yeah.
so those were the pieces that I needed to take action on. So for all of it to come together, that I wasn't before, because I just didn't have the clarity and awareness.
Yeah.
And I wasn't asking for help either to be able to get more clear and become more aware. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's where that all came to, that's how it all came together for me.
Nice.
And
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 then,
it's sparked this whole new world of possibility. It's
yeah.
amazing.
And then you step forward and you decide to get funding for your idea, because I think that's like a whole other, for me, that's a whole other level of belief and investing in yourself, to step forward and say, here's my idea. And I believe that it's worth even other people getting on board with and
Yes.
pursuing that. So tell us about that.
Yes. So I am already funded on my first round. And I'm also now looking at, okay, my next strategy is basically to get sponsors. And what I mean by that is, there are plenty of businesses out there that care about making an impact, being a force for impact. And and so those are the businesses that I'm looking to connect with, so they can become sponsors and also form part of this community in advocating and supporting a special needs mom, whether she needs to grow in her career, or needs mentoring with in her career, or is someone that wants to grow in business. There are plenty of businesses out there that can play a part. They can play the game of being an instrument for impact and be a force in the world for good. So right now I'm in the place where I'm looking for sponsors to invest in my business, and also be part of like a network of companies that support special needs moms
Mm-hmm.
in different, in different capacities. And so that's what I'm bringing together, because it takes, again, it takes a network, it takes a village, it takes different, companies and CEOs, owners, mentors, coaches that are in a place where they can, move resources, move their contacts, and be a force for good, use it for good,
Yeah.
and be an impact for, positive impact for special needs moms. So that's where this is all, headed now.
Yeah. So I love this, that you really are becoming such a great example and walking the talk of owning your story and asking for help, right? And that's kind of the community that you're creating, right?
Yes.
Of women that are coming together, the community coming together, the business community coming together and supporting each other.
Yeah.
And so I think that's such a beautiful vision. So tell me what your vision is for this part of your business. Like, how do you want to help the women? What kind of programs are you developing, or kind of what your vision is?
Yes. So it's all still coming together, but right now, like what I am able to do for a special needs mom is get people behind her, get people that support her with whatever it is that she wants to do, or whatever she needs in the moment. So But in my business, what I foresee is being able to provide, group coaching. I think group coaching, not just for business, but also for, it's like a combination of group coaching for some things. It's beneficial to be in that learning environment. But then for other things, it's better to have a mastermind. And that's where, in the Napoleon Hill format of masterminds, where, we're coming together, we are, in a hot seat, and we are, stating, okay, this is what I either have a challenge with, please help me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in a very empowering way, not in a way where it's, it's a big victimhood at all. It's coming from a place of strength, because it takes strength to ask for help, but still owning, all of it. It takes a lot of strength. So that's the place that we're coming from. And in this mastermind, there's also philanthropy involved. So that's where we go out in the community and we provide, our time, our resources, whatever we have available to give, that we give it. And so that's another part of this mastermind. And there may be some other instances where it's just a matter of connecting women with the right resource, or with the right mentor, or that specific coach or mentor that they need for that specific need. So having, a community where everyone is feels supported, feels heard, feels seen, and there's no demographic or none of the superficial things that are required. The only thing required is really to show up, is to really be committed, and be a living demonstration of that commitment. And so those are the requirements. But aside from that, I see this really growing, on a national level, growing, global even. Like I already have the global women club. She heard my story on Clubhouse and offered, for me to be part of that. And they have like a magazine, they have like a lot of different, media venues to be seen and to be heard. And so she already offered, support through her own organization, which is amazing. She's based out of London. And so this was all just sharing my story.
Yeah.
I felt very compelled in that moment to share it. And I shared it with my whole soul and heart. And she was one of those that felt it, that was moved by it. So that's the thing, is that when we start sharing our story, we never know who it's going to impact and how it's going to impact them. So sharing our story is extremely important. And it doesn't mean that everything has to be shared, every single little detail. It's just about sharing it in a way that feels good to the person, when that person that's sharing it, and also that it moves us when we are sharing it. It's moving us, the one that the sharer, and also the listener. It goes both ways. And so I'm super excited. I feel this is going to be like my life work, like literally my life's work. And so I'm really excited to continue.
Yeah. And it already has been your life's work, right? It's like,
yes,
everything in your life has brought you to this point. So
exactly. Yes.
Really, this is what you've been working on for years and years and years, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. So I would love to just wrap up by asking, what would your advice be to a woman, a mom, single mom, or a mom of a special needs child that's listening right now, that is just in that place where you were in, say, 2018, when you were just, feeling squeezed by the job and, wanting to serve your job and do well there while also being a great mom, and kind of what advice you would have for her right now, or someone that's thinking of starting their own business right now? Yes. What would you have to say to them?
So if you're having any type of trouble getting your son or daughter the services that they need as special needs I would recommend that you, first of all, that you don't give up. Don't give up on them. Don't give up on yourself, no matter how hard it may seem right this moment. Um, Also, make sure to, if you're in the Denver area, I have plenty of resources that I can provide of organizations that I personally have worked with, so that I can recommend that really, they definitely walk the talk. They're the real deal. They really go above and beyond to help special needs children and their families. And so there's that. But I would say the one thing is, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your children. And any area in your life where you feel there's a lack, where there's just some sort of lack, or any type of struggle, even ask for help. Ask for divine guidance. I bring in the spiritual because it does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's made all the difference for me. And it doesn't matter what you believe in, but ask the higher power, whatever that higher power it looks like for you. Ask for help, ask for guidance. And then, on a practical sense, look up organizations that can provide what you're looking for and interview them. Like do research, but definitely do not give up. For someone, that single mom, special needs single mom, or a special needs, mother, working mother that is looking to start a business or grow their business, I would highly recommend that before you spend money on resources or on a coach or a mentor, especially a coach, because mentors really shouldn't be charging you anything. Really do your research, but more importantly, really go, do a lot of introspection and ask yourself what it is that you are looking for. What are your values? What do you stand for? Who are you serving and why? And what's it costing you to not take action? So like is whether it's your family, including yourself, the people you're here to serve, whether you're aware of who you're supposed to serve or not. Like what is life going to be like next year if you don't take action today? What is it going to look like? And just imagine, whether it's your kids, whether it's, the people that you're here to serve, like all the impact, that the negative impact that would have if you don't take action today. So really think about those things. Have it, take some time to always do introspection and go within yourself every single day. That's making a huge difference in my life, to be resilient and stay resilient. And then community is everything. Being part of a community that aligns with your values, that aligns with what what matters most to you, is everything. Mm-hmm. And being seen, being heard. We are here to be seen and be heard. Mm-hmm. But we have to take the first step. We have to put ourselves out there, and we have to also voice, what it is that we want and need.
Yeah, I love that. So good. And remember that you're not alone, right? Because this, right. I'm sure, can feel a lot of times very isolating. I mean, I know myself as an entrepreneur, it can feel very isolating. And yes. Even as a parent, a lot of times we think we're the only ones that are going through these struggles or whatever, but you're not alone. So that's right. Yeah. And to reach out. So I love that. Thank you so much. And will you share with us how we can keep in touch with you, follow you, work with you, all the things? Yes. So if you go to Michelle, Michelle, Salinas, SALINAS.co, that is my social tab, and it has basically all the links of how to connect with me on social media. It has my phone number. You can even download my V card. And nice. Yeah, I also have like a free gift where I share, 8 strategies to help increase your leads and find profitability in your business. So that's a free book. That's my free gift to everyone listening if they want to take advantage of that too. Love it. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you, Melissa. So good to see you. If you like this podcast, then you have got to sign up for my free on-demand video training, Grow Your Sales Doing What You Love, where I teach you in depth my simple process that you can implement right away to harness your mindset and your skills to grow your sales to whatever level you want. So go grab that now. The link is in the show notes, and I'll see you next time.